You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Lamoriello.
Hello and welcome to the Up the Turnpike YouTube channel. What's going on? Matt O'Leary alongside Mitch Anderson. Mitch, we had to come on and do a separate video to discuss this Matt Barzal trade rumor. I'm going to say rumor in air quotes here because usually like on the YouTube channel, if it's not like the pod or a post game, usually just one of us will pop on and do a quick reaction kind of thing. But I think this is worthwhile for both of us to get our thoughts off on this one.
Yeah, because we both got some thoughts here. This came, I saw this on, I think it was the Jets Reddit that they came across, and I just could not believe this is something that we're talking about in the year of our Lord 2025. It seems wild to me that this is coming up. So can you please put it across the stage here so we can see what's going on?
Yeah, so here we go. So Carter Brooks, who covers the Winnipeg Jets for SI Now and the Hockey News, shares Mathew Barzal, an intriguing name I have been told the Jets have some interest in. The reported return is far too high, in my opinion, but time will tell. As it stands, the 27-year-old has 10 listed teams he would accept a trade to. He's on year 2 of an 8-year, $73 million deal. Now, he would go on in the comments to say that the return is a young roster player and 2 prospects. Mitch, your thoughts?
Yeah, of course, the Winnipeg Jets would have interest in Matt Barzal. Who wouldn't? He's a great player, incredible puck mover, incredible playmaker. But then to be like, that return is too steep for a guy on another, how many years? 6 years after this. At sure $9.15 million, who's won a Calder Trophy, who's gone 80 points at least twice, who Mark Scheifele has said could put up 100 points in the NHL, and you're like, we're good at a young player and 2 prospects. I'm sorry, is that not the price for Brock Nelson? What are we doing?
Yeah, just about. I feels like that's the Brock Nelson price, and clearly Mathew Barzal, younger and just a better overall player than what Brock Nelson is, especially at this point in his career. I call BS. I don't buy this for a second, nor do I think the Islanders would seriously consider trading Mathew Barzal. We've talked about the desperate need for an Islanders retool, but that is not including Mathew Barzal. He is one of the 4 to 6 names that we continue to talk about as guys you keep and build around. And are we going to squabble over a young roster player and 2 prospects? And like looking at the Winnipeg Jets roster, who the hell is that young player anyway? Like Kyle Connor's clearly not that at 28 years old. Mark Scheifele's not that at 31 years old. Ehlers isn't that at 28 years old. Who are we talking about here?
Yeah, and of course, if Winnipeg is, and anyways, we're going to get to the validity of even the discussion and even that this package even existing. We'll put a pin in that. I want to get to that, but as it stands now, like what the young player could be, you're right. They're not moving any of these guys either. You mentioned for obvious reasons, not only because they're not young, but if they're looking to compete, they're not moving those guys. And so the only ones that would come to mind is like Cole Perfetti. And I don't want to hear anyone saying like Ville Heinola and Brad Lambert, because those still count as prospects, not a roster young player. And Cole Perfetti has done a whole lot of not too much right now in the NHL. 10th overall pick, great. But like 38 points was his best year, 19 goals. I'm sorry, that doesn't move the needle for me.
No, and can Cole Perfetti maybe figure it out and be a good NHL player? Yeah, there's a path to that, sure. But as the centerpiece of a Matt Barzal trade, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. And then, yeah, you look at the rest of that roster, and there really isn't anyone that stands out in terms of a young rostered player where you're going, yeah, that's the guy that we can hitch our wagon to that's going to take us further. Again, Ville Heinola, Brad Lambert does not count in terms of young rostered player. That would be a prospect, which fine, bring them in a Brock Nelson trade, but definitely not in a Mathew Barzal one, which I really just can't. This makes no sense to me. at all. There's no way that it ever even got to the point of Lou Lamoriello saying, "Oh yeah, sure. How about a rostered young player and 2 prospects?" And Winnipeg's like, "No thanks." It never ever got to that in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Not because I know Lou Lamoriello and has spoken to me about this, but we just saw Lou Lamoriello like a week ago saying, "I'm not even interested in trading Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri because we're still in contention." And now all of a sudden he's entertaining a crappy package from Mathew Barzal. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and that's a great point to call back to his comments from what, not even a week ago. Like that, it was very recent within the last week where Lou Lamoriello goes on and it's like, yeah, I still gave the old line. We've heard it so many times. I still believe in this group. Not something I'm not interested in. When the names that were asked about are Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri, I really don't see a world where he's trading Mathew Barzal, who's under contract for the next 6.5 years, but is going to refuse to trade 33-year-old expiring UFAs Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri. Like that again, the math isn't mathing here.
It does not add up. It never got to that. Maybe it's just me being stubborn and refusing to believe it ever got to that discussion. But Lou Lamoriello, as much as he has his faults, he's not an idiot. And trading Mathew Barzal for less than a young roster player and 2 prospects would be catastrophic on a not even Cheveldayoff. That's obviously not the one I was looking for. I was thinking of the Boston Bruins or the former Edmonton Oilers GM, Peter Chiarelli level.
Oh yeah. That's it. That would be a you never work in hockey again after this trade type of move.
It just makes no sense in any way, shape, or form. Again, like you mentioned, there's no way the Islanders would ever want to indulge in a Mathew Barzal trade at this moment. And the rumored package, is nothing anywhere close to where the Islanders would even entertain this. And usually, and I've said this on the channel multiple times, I don't like criticizing people's trade packages when they're trying to propose something like, I think this player is worth X, Y, and Z. But this is different. This is not saying, I think this player is worth X, Y, and Z. This is, I've heard this is what the Islanders want for said player. And that's banana lands. It's absolute banana lands. There is no way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there's different. It's a different thing if it's a fan or even someone who obviously covers and writes about a team. Like we talked about Stefan Rosner, putting some packages together based on like some rumblings that he's heard of, and it's not him saying, "Hey, this is what Elias Pettersson or this is what JT Miller is worth." He's saying, "Okay, based on some of the information I have, this is what I think it could." Keyword being could look like. This is, I'm going to pretend to know. And yeah, I'm comfortable saying pretend because I don't buy this for even half a second.
No. And when I saw this come across my screen last night when I was in bed, just like doom scrolling type of thing. And I was like, what the heck is this? This is not okay. We have to address this. There's no way, shape, or form this is ever going to happen in this way. And let's say on the off chance it does, billboards have to go up. That's at what point we would be if this happens. Billboards have to go up across New York State.
I think we skip billboards. Like this is past billboards at that point. This is like picketing outside of UBS Arena at the park.
Yeah. And again, this is like worst case, assuming it's right, which it's not.
No. So just figured we'd start your lovely Tuesday morning with a little Isles ridiculousness on the YouTube channel here.
Yeah, and like this is only going to get worse. Maybe not in regards to just the Islanders, but just in regards to the NHL in general, because we're approaching trade season, right? We're past the new year. We're getting closer to the All-Star game or the Four Nations face-off tournament, whatever the hell they're calling it. And that's when trades are going to start ramping up. And then we lead into the trade deadline. So all these speculations and rumors are going to start ramping up. So be careful of what you're consuming out there and think about it critically for a second. This, if you think about it, just doesn't make any sense in multiple ways. So putting it out there that it is now the time to be extra critical and do your research, as they say. And this is something that does not fly in any way.
No, not at all. And this is what we're here for. We're here to react to all things New York Islanders and put our either stamp of approval or say, no, this is silly. And this is getting a silly stamp.
Yeah, absolutely. A few times over. Yippee. So yeah, good start to the Tuesday morning.
Love it. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel here if you're new. Check out the Patreon as well. 2 podcast episodes a week hanging out over there, and a Discord channel if you're interested. That'll do it for us for now. I'm Matt. He's Mitch, and we'll catch you next time.